Hey, Shalom, Call Allah, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim HaKadosh, the one of the apostles of Great Millstone, and Shalom to you brothers in the highways and byways, doing the work sincerely and faithfully, and continually fighting that good fight of faith. Lord willing, we're finding that number to be delivered. All right? So we're going to speak about the collapse or the collapsing of America and the things that are to come. All right? Now, again, you people here in this country take these things lightly, very lightly. For example, I was at work, and I'm around a couple Edomites, and we was, sitting around, and a couple of the old timers was in there, who, they pretty much think they know everything. And so I had made a statement, said, hey, so what do you guys think about, this collapse and the debt ceiling and all that? And one of them said, it'll work itself out. It always does. I said, I don't know about that. I said, I don't know. I said, I got a bad feeling about this time. He goes, yeah, well, we always work it out. And, as he said, we always work it out. And that's what the sentiment is. And this is why a lot of you people don't take this shit serious. Because in times past, it was just a ruse or smoke and mirrors, if you will. In the 12th hour, they'd make a deal where they wouldn't have to shut down the government and so on and so forth. But the only problem is they're not equating the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai in the things that he's performing in these last days. All right? When you decide to just base it off of men's actions, sure, yeah, they'll work it out. But now the Lord is intervening. And when the Lord intervenes, you're looking at a totally different structure of what's to come. All right, so let me play this quick clip.
The collapse of society is rapidly accelerating. Global events are escalating at an alarming pace. We're now witnessing conflicts erupting all over the world. At the same time, global production is declining. Supply chain problems are getting bigger, and our economic woes are getting worse. In fact, according to a new reassessment of a report released by a team of MIT scientists in 1970, human society is right on track for a collapse in the next 2 decades if there isn't a serious shift in global priorities. The report was published in the best-selling book, The Limits to Growth, in 1972, in which the experts argued that industrial civilization was bound to collapse if corporations and governments continued to pursue the idea of infinite economic growth, no matter the costs. The researchers forecasted 12 possible scenarios for the future, most of which predicted a point where natural resources would become so scarce that further economic growth would become impossible, and quality of life would sharply drop all over the planet. The report's most infamous scenario predicted that the global economic growth would be brought to a halt around the 2040s, when most economies in the world would face a massive meltdown, along with the global population, food availability, and natural resources. However, this imminent collapse wouldn't be the end of the human race, but rather a societal turning point that would see standards of living free-falling around the world for decades, the team wrote. The decline of the civilization as we know it would include dramatic disruptions to trade routes, shifts in supply and demand, disease, environmental degradation, and extreme political dysfunction. In such an apocalyptic scenario, you can see that the basic needs of society are not being met or cannot be accomplished, explained Bar Oz, an archaeologist at the University of Haifa. Losing food security, losing basic security. Everyone agrees this is a way to measure collapse. Everything suggests that it is not a question of if, but when these events will happen. History has taught us that civilizations do not last forever, and recent trends show that our society is reaching an irreversible turning point. How quickly could these events become so drastic that they would spark an apocalyptic shift in society? Quicker than we think. In today's video, we've compiled several signs that expose a societal collapse has already begun.
Alright, so you basically get the message. Alright? This society is not going to last. This structure is not going to last. It's already falling apart at the seams. Alright? And when this thing gets accelerated, it's going to be abundantly clear. Now, we go to the scriptures. 2 Ezra 15, we'll start at 14. It says, "Woe unto the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands." All right? So that time is coming. All right? And when you have a societal breakdown, these are the very things that you're going to get. Destruction, people fighting one another. Okay? And some of the main causes of a societal breakdown is lack of food, lack of bread, safety and security. Those are some of the key points of a lack of a societal breakdown. And we're coming to that point. You can already see it. Now, whatever happens with these setups or these police skirmishes and people getting killed, there's going to be a major issue that's going to take place that's going to spark total outrage. All right? Continuing on. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power." Sounds like what? Sounds like a societal breakdown. Sounds like a country that's on the verge of being collapsed. All right? When you get to this point where you have sedition, people raiding one another, not only will they be raiding, but they're going to be killing one another. When you get to this point, society's out of here, man. There's no structure. There's no outlet. There's no remedy. The scripture says, "In the course of their actions shall stand in their power." So the only course of action or the only remedy is going to be what you make it in your situations. If all hell's breaking loose and somebody's trying to kill you, what you going to do? You're going to defend yourself and most likely kill that person. So the course of your actions are going to stand in your power. Okay? "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able." Years ago when we read these things, we read them, but didn't really put much content behind them. But now, it's coming to life, man. These scriptures and these prophecies are coming to life. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do when you wake up one morning and it's on? What are you going to do? We make mention of the women, all you women out there who've been, big, strong, and independent and all this other shit. What are you going to do when that time comes? You're not going to go and try to call your local police, your fire departments, your EMTs, because they're going to be fighting in the trenches, fighting for their lives as well. So we're coming to a crossroads, man. And a lot of you people better realize that it's not going to work itself out. It's not going to get any better, just looking at it from a presidential standpoint. Damn near every president since Ronald Reagan, this country's been on the decline. And not only has it been on decline, with these last 3 presidents, it is sped up dramatically. All right? But think not that it's just some coincidence. This is the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Continuing on, verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Okay? For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. What does that mean? Why is a man going to be afraid? You know, here in Babylon right now, men walk around like they can't be touched, and there's no fear in them. All right? But when the Lord starts to open up this whole Pandora's box, if you will, with the sedition, with the collapse, with the invading of one another, you know, that tough guy attitude is gonna be right out the fucking window, and you're gonna revert to survival mode, because that's what happens when one finds himself in a very chaotic situation. All right, your survival modes kick in, and sometimes it's your fight or flight. You may not be able to handle the whole weight that's about to come. So what are you going to do? You're going to flee. And there's nothing wrong with that. But don't think for 1 minute you're going to get out the car. You know when people get road rage, they get out the car and start going back and forth. Ain't going to be none of that. People are going to drop some slugs in you before you even get your hand on the door to get out the car. Okay? Verse 19. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right? What are we talking about here? This is talking about a societal breakdown. Okay? There's going to be no law and order. And these are the things that you're going to see when all hell breaks loose. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. Meaning what? He ain't going to have no qualms about putting his neighbor to death. All right? And I'm not saying, you know, that he gonna go out looking for his neighbor. The neighbor might come to his house, trying to break in, trying to get some food. And again, it's either kill or be killed, man, when this time comes. There's a lot to think about, man. There's an awful lot to think about as these things start to unfold very slowly. And I mean to the point where it's happening so subtly that a lot of people can't even recognize that it's happening. Until that one day comes and it's going to be full blown, all out chaos. Okay? Now when it says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods. What do you do when you spoil somebody's goods? What do you do? You're taking shit. Whatever they got is yours now. But in order to get that, sometimes you got to go through people. Meaning you got to put somebody to death to take the spoil. There's a saying in the world, to the victor go the spoil. So you got to be victorious in order to take somebody's shit. And being victorious may mean taking somebody's life. All right? And it says, because of lack of bread and great tribulation. You're hungry. Somebody's hungry. Somebody's going to make moves, man. And just another thing about America. America is probably the biggest country, well, the worst country, I should say, that wastes an astronomical amount of food, man. People just leave whole plates of food and just throw it right down the trash. But that day is going to come where you're going to say, damn, I wish I never threw that shit out. I wish I held on to it. But that's normal. Because the situation that you find yourself in now while everything is, subtle and everything is quiet, you ain't gonna think twice about throwing, half a pizza away, or whatever you cooked the night before, just tossing it in the trash because you don't want to eat anymore. Okay? So for lack of bread, another key component to a societal breakdown. Okay? But this is what we're about to face. These are the things that we're about to be facing, man. You look at the prophets and you take it lightly, but that time is going to come where there's going to be no turning back, man. And then you're going to only wish that you had, the food or the protection or the understanding or knowledge of how to survive. A lot of you people don't know how to fucking survive out here, man. Especially this younger generation. They know nothing about survival skills, man. Nothing. And this is what it's going to take in these last days. It's going to take survival skills, along with we being, men of the Lord, along with prayer and supplication to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. All right? Ephesians 5 and 16. Let me open that up. Let me go 15 and 16. Ephesians 5, 15 and 16. It says, "See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise." All right? And even now, circumspectly. I learned this from Elder Apostle Gabal when I first came into the truth. He always made mention about being circumspect. Okay? Knowing what's going on around you at all times. All right? Because this is what we're going in. Now, this is the thing about measuring the time diligently. Knowing the time frame that you're living in, and the things that are to come. You just can't learn. You just can't all of a sudden, acquire, the ability to just be, in the know, if you will. Because when all hell breaks down, a lot of you people are going to ask the question, why? What's happening? What is going on? Okay? And for those who've ever come across brothers on the highways and byways teaching, making mention of the end times, the prophecies, and anybody that came across us and decided to just shake their head at us and keep it moving, the Lord is going to make those words that we spoke resonate back in their mind. I believe that. Okay? And with those words resonating in their mind, what? You have been warned. You were warned, but you didn't take heed. So be it. You will probably end up dying out here a horrible, horrible death. All right? So it says, "Seeing then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil." Now, when you're out there teaching and speaking on the highways, and you mention the days being evil, you can scream it at the top of your lungs, but nobody's going to take heed to it. Nobody's going to think they're going to think you crazy, because their lifestyle right now is comfortable. Especially those who got a little bit of money with a comfortable lifestyle. There's no need to listen to anything else, because at that point, no harm or anguish can come your way, because you got everything you need. But once that shit gets taken away, and once this whole thing starts to break down, then you're going to see. I remember back in 2008 when there was a mini collapse. The elder and I lived in, down in this place called Fall River, and there was I think it was an Ocean State job lot, not Ocean State, Price Right. There was a Price Right that was there. Now, we had lived down there for a little while at this point, and we'd always, we frequent shop Price Right, go and get, stuff that, some side stuff that you may need, whatever it was. But when that little mini collapse came, You've seen all these Edomites coming down through there, you know, because there was a lot of job losses back then as well. Job losses, the lack of money people had, you know, so now they're looking to stretch that dollar. In places like Price Right, back then, you know, the prices were super cheap. But you had, it seemed like when I saw those Edomites in there, I was like, damn, now you're gonna come down here? You can't afford to go to Whole Foods no more. So now here you are down here. But when shit was all gravy, you drove right past this place. So don't get it twisted, man. Even those who are of the street, and what I mean by that is those who just, you know, live in the local neighborhoods, if you will, they're going to be identifying, you know, who's from the area and who's not, man. And you will be tested. You people are going to be tested. Don't think you're just going to roll up in some neighborhood and decide that, oh, because of the prices are cheaper here, we're going to go. No, you're going to get picked apart out there, man. You will be picked apart out there. Why? Because the days are evil. And this is what we're trying to relay to you people. The days that are coming are going to be evil days, bad times. All right? In a place such as America is an evil place, man. And you best believe this evil place is going to bring some evil times upon the people. No doubt. Evil, bad times are coming. This is 1 Corinthians 7:31. It says, and they that use this world as not abusing it, for the fashions of this world passes away. Okay? The fashions of this world passes away. You know, the whole infrastructure, the way America was built, you know, the pride that the American people once had for this place, it's slowly but surely, you know, coming to an halt. It's becoming to, you know, be very quiet, if you will. You don't hear that tumult about how great America is and that whole USA chanting. You don't hear these shits no more, man. Why? Because the fashions of this world passeth away. America was built off of rape, robbery, murder, slaughter. All right? So these things that you Edomites hold so dearly to your heart, as you always proclaim, the founding fathers of America would be upset or be turning their graves if we did X, Y, Z. You're going to pay for all that has been done to the children of Israel. You know? And if the Lord got to hit this place with earthquakes, where 7,500 people die, if he got to hit it with thunder, hurricanes, tornadoes, landslides, the little holes that end up coming in the ground, sinkholes, you know, the Lord is going to come at you from every different angle, man. From every angle. And then and only then, you're going to now realize the men that you once heard were true, were speaking the truth. All right? Where we at? This is Fox News, a little article that I pulled up, dated February 7, 2023, at 5:00 a.m. It says, America unrecognizable and on the brink of collapse, experts warn, turning on your own legacy. All right? And this is the talk, man. This is the talk. But this is the talk amid, you know, the rumors of wars, Ukraine and Russia and China, all these things going on. So these small little articles don't get any attention because they're focused on, you know, these things that are, you know, kind of captivating. But what's being mentioned and what's being said in these articles is very pertinent information, because they're telling you right to your face that this bitch is out of here. This place is out of here. The money system's out of here. They're telling you. Let me read a little bit of this. A three-part American requirement is streaming on Fox News. Is America on the brink of collapse? It says, America is dying before your eyes. And that's ever so true. America is dying right before the people's eyes. But they can't recognize, they can't understand that this place is dying. This place is slowly suffocating. And it says, all societies eventually collapse, from the classic civilization of ancient Rome and Greece to the ever-alarming decline of modern America. Could the past be hinting at what's in store? Right. There's no new thing under the sun. Every country that was in charge has fallen. Every nation that has been in charge has fallen. And it says, with skyrocketing inflation, political division, social unrest, and the relentless effort to wipe away the fundamental principles of the nation, historians and scholars in Fox News America regime series offer an elegy offer an elegy for what the country used to be and warn of what is to come. Okay? So, what is to come? Division, famine, pestilence, sedition, murder, hatred. These things are to come. And again, the elites of the world aren't going to be subjected to any of this, because through the Spirit of the Lord, they're pulling the shots. So this is going to be just a big hunger game to them. Okay? But they're wanting the people. They've been telling you, America's on the brink of collapse. There's something going on. There might be a currency shift. All right? It says the America of the 1980s was has pretty much vanished. Manhattan Institute senior fellow Chris Rufo said, "We're now entering a new period of unprecedented economic and social and cultural change." All right? And this change is going to be brought in swiftly with the RFID. That's going to set the tone right across the board. Okay? And it's all this buildup is to support this new device, this new implantable device. Okay? And it says, we're in a very bizarre and unprecedented situation in our civilization today, which is we are turning on our own legacy and declaring it evil. Okay? Oppressive, without any redeeming characteristics, Manhattan Institute senior fellow Heather McDonald said in the special. Okay? So what they're telling you, some of these people have the inside scoop. You know, that movie with Contagion with Lawrence Fishburne, Matt Damon. There was a part in that movie where Lawrence Fishburne had received some inside information, and they was like, don't tell anybody. But he told I think it was his daughter. He told his daughter, and of course she had to tell her best friend and tried to swear her to secrecy. But you know how that goes. But this is true, man. These elites know what's going on. The elites are letting certain things slip out into the public hearing, so that they know you've been warned. All right. See, there's some days I wake up and read the news and look around me and say, I don't recognize this country anymore. Stephen Hayward, a resident scholar at University of California, Berkeley, added. All right, so I'm not gonna get too much in there because it's pretty much the same sentiment of what's going on in America. That is coming down, man. But it's not gonna come down without a great insurrection or a great fight. And you best believe that the children of Israel are going to be at the bad end of a situation, man. You may not believe so, you may not think so, but the whole object is to wipe out the nation of Israel to be no more remembrance. This is what the deal is, man. If you take heed, then take heed. But if you choose not to take heed, then that's on you. You know? Which is fine. But know that you've been warned. Alright? So with that, I'm going to end it right there. And Lord willing, I'll see you on another quick one. I say shalom.